Do you ever find yourself holding back from trying new things or embarking on new endeavors because of insecurity? What kind of fear is that? Where does that come from? Is it lack of confidence? Is it low self-esteem? What is that all about? I've identified self-confidence, got it. Self-esteem needs work. Okay. So what do I do about it? How do I work on it? I'm going to share with you the 5 things that I've been doing in order to keep moving forward, keep trying new things, keep taking risks, keep being bold. Welcome to the Blueprint Breakers podcast. What is a blueprint breaker? If you live your life outside the typical traditional lifestyle blueprint, you are a blueprint breaker. We are here to start a conversation, to assemble resources, and to build a community. This podcast is for empowered women in midlife and beyond who are preparing for a powerful next era of life. My name is Amy A. Palmer. I am your host and facilitator for our conversations. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. To stay connected, up to date, and to receive all of our free resources and gifts along the way, join us at community.blueprintbreakers.com. How to become a badass. A badass what? Well, I was thinking a badass leader, a badass decision maker, a badass risk taker, a badass life liver. I don't know. I just made that up. A badass liver of life. Okay, that doesn't sound right either. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Do you ever find yourself holding back from trying new things or embarking on new endeavors because of insecurity? What kind of fear is that? Where does that come from? Is it lack of confidence? Is it low self-esteem? What is that all about? And what's the difference between self-confidence and self-esteem? That's the topic that I'm going to dive into today because I'm navigating it in real time with the current situation right now. This past week, I launched my very first ebook, Heal and Restore, the 7-Step Guide to Joy. And it was difficult. It's vulnerable. I was very nervous about putting it out there, nervous about what people were going to think about it, the perception, etc. But I did it. I completed it. It was a lot of work. It took a lot of work, and I got it out there. And I realized that I teeter-totter between confidence and self-esteem. I mean, I've always considered myself confident, self-confident. I've been called brave. I've taken a lot of risks, but there's always been a bit of a limit to the risks that I would take. I would only go so far. And it's very confusing to me because I feel like I have very internal confidence in my ability and in my work and what I can do and who I am. But if that's the case, why do I have this inner voice that is saying, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, no one will like it, no one will like you? Is that my self-esteem? And why? Why is my self-esteem low if my confidence in myself is not? That's the question that I'm going to explore. And I'm going to share a little bit of my steps and process that I take when I'm faced with things that I'm unsure of or lacking confidence. And I'm going to share what other thought leaders say about it. First, I was looking at definitions, and I was reading up about a lot. I was reading up about self-confidence. I was reading up about self-esteem, and I read articles. And one of the things that came up that I found was interesting is that if you look at the various dictionaries, self-confidence and self-esteem, their definitions often reflect each other, repeat each other, and it often gets confusing when you're looking in different places. But there was one explanation that jumped out at me that I thought made so much sense. This is what it said. Self-esteem and self-confidence overlap, but they are different. Self-esteem refers to whether you appreciate and value yourself. Your self-esteem develops and changes as a result of your life experiences and interactions with other people. Self-confidence is your belief in yourself and your abilities. So that makes perfect sense to me. So I have belief in myself, belief in my own abilities, but that does not always seem to align with my interactions with the outside world. The messages that I receive from others, the messages that I receive from society, that's where the disconnect is. This topic, this subject, this theme is really, really, really popular right now. I don't know if it's right now or if it's just because I'm particularly, my eyes are open to it, but it just keeps popping up. For example, Jamie Kern-Lima is about to launch her next book, and it's called Worthy. If you don't know who Jamie is, she is the founder and former CEO of It Cosmetics. This is a cosmetic brand that she started in her own house. She was told no again and again and again. She was rejected, supposedly for who she was, again and again and again. And she just kept going. And she ended up selling her business to L'Oreal for like $1 billion. Her first book, Believe It, talked about her journey to being able to believe in herself. And now she's writing a book called Worthy to help all of us do the same. A couple of, a quote that I heard from Jamie recently: success is not determined by how many people believe in your dream. It's determined by your own unwavering belief in yourself and your vision. Jamie Kern-Lima. So that really resonated with me, and I will definitely be getting her book when it comes out. But as I said, very common theme happening. The other day on my drive, I was listening to Jay Shetty's podcast On Purpose, and a recent episode called 5 Mindsets Necessary to Build Self-Confidence and 4 Ways to Know You're Enough. I had already been thinking about this topic, so hearing that this was the topic of his podcast, obviously that drew my attention. I recommend checking out that episode On Purpose podcast, but just to give you a little brief glimpse, he talked about 4 types of self-esteem and sort of where self-esteem comes from. One was security and safety, and self-esteem being really tied into how secure and safe we feel. 2, around identity, especially as it's connected to your values. How well aware are you of your own values? And that's connected to your identity. He also talked about number 3 being self-confidence. The 3rd type of self-esteem was self-confidence that we experience through competency, through skills, abilities, etc. So he was kind of saying in here, self-confidence is sort of a type of self-esteem, but like one aspect of it, which also makes sense. And then the 4th type was having a sense of community, like feeling that we've been seen and heard and understood, and that people understand us and accept us for who we are. Those are the 4 types of self-esteem, and those are the 4 areas to explore in your life if you're feeling like, if you're having those feelings of, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, etc. Jay also gave some tips to build self-confidence. It was 4 sort of themes or phrases. Number 1 was how we view our pain makes all the difference. So he talked about owning our story and knowing that that's important. Number 2 was that everyone starts from 0. Everyone starts at the beginning. Everyone has a place to go. They don't start at the top. They're working their way up. Number 3 was your first will never be your best, and it doesn't have to be your last, which, of course, yes, last week was my first ebook. It doesn't have to be my last, and it might not be it says it'll never be my best. So it will not be my best. Next, your story matters, so don't abandon it and help the person you were 5 years ago. So I thought that was interesting. When your self-esteem is wavering, you think you have nothing to offer, think about where you were and how you could serve and help and, what you can offer people who are in that place from 5 years ago. So those were just some of the tips that Jay shared about building self-confidence and feeling worthy again. So it's the themes coming up again and again. I've identified self-confidence, got it. Self-esteem needs work. Okay. So what do I do about it? How do I work on it? I'm going to share with you the 5 things that I've been doing in order to keep moving forward, keep trying new things, keep taking risks, keep being bold. These are 5 ways that I go about doing that. Number 1, remembering my successes. And if you have to keep like a little hype file for yourself, positive feedback, positive notes, great emails, great successes, just remembering and reminding yourself of all the great things you've done over time, all the times that you've made a difference in somebody else's life. And if you can't think of any, ask some of your loved ones. They will tell you, they will help you. So you can start building that file to be able to refer to. So number 1, remember my successes. Number 2, lean on others who already believe. And this comes in 2 ways. One is those people in your life who have just unwavering confidence in your ability and who you are, those who fully accept you. Lean on them and get reminders from them if you need to. So it's the people in your life that know, but it's also people who are not in your life, but are experts in this field, like looking for other thought leaders, looking for people who have achieved great things, who have come from challenges and hurdles like you have, things that will inspire you, stories that you will connect with, that you can see yourself in, that will help you keep your eyes open to what's possible. So I'm always looking for who's already done this, who's been there, done that, who's 5 years ahead of me, and what can I learn from them, and how can I relate to where they are. So that's number 2, lean on others who already believe. Number 3, breathe. Breathe and connect with your instinct. When I'm doubting myself, or when I hear that inner voice going on, when I'm, questioning my worthiness, it's about being still, and it's about listening to my heart and my instinct, just getting quiet. And you can work on that with journaling, see what comes up, or just sit and think and just tune into your heart. I also use a tool that I use in my health program that I'm in with Corinne Crabtree, the 4 N's. Look it up if you don't know what it is. It's a 4N. It's about turning around negative thoughts. So you can do things like that, like really doing the thought work. So breathe, connect, dial into your instincts, do the thought work, go inside. That's number 3. Number 4, movement, jumping around, being vocal, yelling, getting it out, there's pent up energy inside that might be balled up, might be masking itself as nerves and uncertainty. Let it out. Brendon Burchard shares stories about how before he goes on stage, he's backstage, like jumping all around, like just moving around like a crazy person to just get that energy out. So that's number 4, jump around, be vocal, dance, move. Number 5, dive right in. Just do it. Just get started. Just force yourself. Just jump in, dive in, and have faith that it's going to work out one way or the other. So those are my 5 steps on what I do when I'm feeling less than secure. Number one, remember my successes. I lean on others who already believe. I breathe and connect with my instinct. I jump around, get vocal, and then I dive right in. Other thought leaders, these have influenced me and influenced how I approach things and influence the steps that I take. First, Lisa Bilyeu. So Lisa is the author of Radical Confidence. She has a podcast also, Women of Impact. She's one of the coaches in the Growth Day program that I'm a part of. And I just finished reading her book, Radical Confidence. And it was, again, perfect timing with everything that I'm thinking about and talking about. Radical confidence is accepting yourself the way you are, and at the same time, being brave enough to believe you can change. Yes. Highly recommend the book. Lisa tells so many amazing stories about when she needed radical confidence, very vulnerable stories where she easily could have hidden from the truth and the realities of her fear and insecurity. She absolutely did not. Here's a quote from the book. It's not about feeling amazing about yourself. It's about still stepping up to the plate, bat in hand, even if you're worried you're going to swing and miss. I had to stop waiting for other people to come and fix me, because right now I am giving my power over. I need to stop looking outside for other people to save me. I need to recognize I am absolutely the hero of my own life. Where is that line between being tough where it's needed, because in business you need to be tough, but also where you can give yourself grace? Whew, thank you, Lisa. Thank you. My dream is to have Lisa on this podcast one of these days. So I think she's got so much to share. So I recommend her book, Radical Confidence. And then lastly, I want to share someone else whom I've followed for years. I've shared with you before, and I talk about her, in my social media, Mel Robbins. She has the Mel Robbins podcast right now, which is amazing. But I've been following Mel Robbins for years, and I've read several of her books, and two of them specifically arm you with tools for just this type of instance, for when your insecurity is flaring up, when your self-esteem is a little low, when your self-confidence is a little shaky. The first is her 5-second rule. And again, look this up. You can get her book. She talks about it on her YouTube channel, the 5-second rule. It's all about when you have a thought, if you have an instinct to act on a goal, a thought and instinct to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds or your brain will kill that instinct. And Mel gets into all the science behind that, about how our brain operates. And for example, you may decide that I'm going to get up in the morning and I am going to work out first thing at 8 o'clock. And that alarm goes off. And normally you would hit snooze or you'd roll over or whatever. With the 5-second rule, that alarm goes off and you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jump, you are up and you're out of bed. You are putting on your workout clothes. You are in movement within 5 seconds. That's the example of the 5-second rule. That will help in any circumstance. Get the book and she'll share all the different ways that the 5-second rule can help your life. And then her more recent book, The High Five Habit. This one, it sounds odd, but it works. And again, she talks about this all over her social media. If you follow her, you're already very aware of it. But if you don't, the High Five Habit, it's all about when you get up in the morning, when you're brushing your teeth, or when part of your morning routine, something that you have to do every morning. So it could be every time after you brush your teeth, you are looking yourself in the mirror and you are giving yourself a high five right in that mirror. Mel talks about the fact that looking at yourself, giving yourself that high five right in the mirror, You internally get those same messages as when you high five another person, that way to go, you can do it, you've got this. So it's a little bit of hype for yourself right there, first thing in the morning. So I want to thank Mel Robbins, Lisa Bilyeu, Brendon Burchard, Jay Shetty, Jamie Kern-Lima, all of whom have been great influences on my ability to build my self-esteem, build my self-confidence, and get out there and go after it. So I'd love to hear from you. My question to you, think about it. The last time you wanted to embark on something big or bold or brave, and you held yourself back because of insecurity, what are 3 things? Let's just say 3. What are 3 things, 3 actions that you can take to move yourself forward toward that goal, toward that dream? Come visit me in the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group at the Blueprint Breakers podcast. You can always drop me an email, amy@amyapalmer.com. And if you want to check out my ebook, my very first, but not my last ebook, Heal and Restore, the 7-Step Guide to Joy, you can find that at restore-joy.com. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of the Blueprint Breakers podcast, How to Become a Badass. I would like to quickly share my disclaimer. I am not a therapist, doctor, lawyer, financial advisor, etc. This podcast is for your entertainment and information only. I encourage you to take what I share here as a launching point to discover what is right for you. I would like to thank you for listening. Thank you very much for your 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. And thank you for sharing this episode with your friends. Now, to sign up and become part of the community here at Blueprint Breakers, you can sign up at community.blueprintbreakers.com. You'll get all the behind-the-scenes info, upcoming episodes, information about our guest speakers, etc. And I humbly invite you to check out my new ebook, Heal and Restore, the 7-Step Guide to Joy, at restore-joy.com. Have a wonderful week. Keep on breaking those blueprints and writing your own.